All right, y'all ready for us to turn a pork butt into some country ribs in under an hour in the Instant Pot? A lot going on. Well, we're gonna make this happen. And today, we actually have a special guest with us. That's right, I have a guest director, Mr. H. Let's check in with him and see what he thinks about today's production.
Less talking, more cooking.
Can't argue with that, can you?
Bigfoot Cooking.
So yes, today we are gonna turn this guy into country ribs. Now, the funny thing about this is a pork butt or Boston butt is actually not the butt, it's the shoulder. If you actually got the butt, that would be a ham. So we're gonna turn the shoulder into country ribs, which are actually not ribs, they're just shoulder cut into strips. Look, don't ask, just this is what we're doing, and it's gonna be great. Plus, we're cooking it in the Instant Pot, so we're cutting our cooking time down to nothing. I mean, this literally, once you do this once or twice as far as cutting this guy up, you'll have this thing done in under an hour. And that's what we're after, right? Dinner in less than an hour. So let's get started. Now, of course, the first thing I gotta do is get the plastic off of this. And there is a little bit of blood in here, so I'm not gonna cut it here. I'm gonna cut it on the sink. So let me take the plastic off. I'm sure you guys can do that without adult supervision, right? I knew you could. All right, and here we have one pork shoulder. Now, I'm gonna take this and I'm going to dry off any of the extra drippings. Is that the polite way to say it? I don't know. But we're gonna kind of basically take a paper towel and we're gonna dry this guy off so that way it's not as icky to feel. I don't know. I'm not really making this piece of meat sound very appetizing so far, am I? All right, I'm gonna try to do all this with a camera right here in front of me. So I don't know how well this is gonna work, but I want you guys to really be able to see what's going on here, all right? Because this is, again, it's not complicated, but if you've never done this before, well, the better visuals, the easier it is for you. So I've got my piece of meat. Now, on one end of it is the bone, as you can guys see right here, right? This bone, this is the shoulder blade, basically. It's flat on one side, it's gonna be flat back here, and then on this side, it's gonna have like a little tip that comes up and down. And to cut this out, it's not incredibly difficult. You just have to take your time, but you can really butcher this up if you just start stabbing and going at it. All right, so we're gonna get what's commonly referred to as a boning knife. It's just a thin knife, and you're gonna come in right here behind this piece of bone, and you're just gonna work this down in steps. Like I say, if you've never done this before, don't try to do like the professionals and they just go whack, 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 because then you'll, like I said, you'll have a lot more meat left on the bone than the rib. And again, we're after those country ribs, which aren't ribs. So, like I say, take your knife and get just as close to the meat as you can, or close to the bone as you can, and take your time. Like I say, the only person rushing this is you, because I don't want you to mess up. All right, we're gonna kind of come down. So see, we're getting this open, and we're just trying to get in here and get to the bottom of this bone. Now, I'm sure if you've watched a couple of different videos on this, you've seen there's several ways to get this out. Since we are making just country ribs with this, now that I've kind of got this cut down in here to the back side of the bone, I'm actually going to turn this piece, because again, with country ribs, you would cut this in half anyway. So I'm going to get me a slightly bigger knife, one that goes through it in one shot. And again, it's a little clumsy for me with this camera here, but I really want you guys to see. Believe it or not, if you put a towel under your cutting board, the cutting board doesn't move around as much. All right, so I'm gonna stand this up and kind of try to find the center line of it. And then we'll come back here. And again, the bone's already been cut, so I've already gotten close to it. And we're just gonna go down and slice this right in half. All right, so half our work is done with that one move right there. And again, you can see the bone right in here. So now I'm gonna take this piece and we're gonna go ahead and get the bone removed from it. So we're gonna come up here, and again, just taking little cuts, we're gonna work our way in. Like I say, remember, at the end of this, you want as many fingers as you started with, you wanna end with.
Go, 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 go.
All right, now we have the bone out. And as you can see, there's this whole little like surfboard wave in here and this out here. So this is not the easiest piece to get out, but although there's a little bit of meat on it, well, I didn't leave a whole steak behind. And for this, I mean, I don't know, you could make like a bone broth, you could hang on to this, you could do several things with it. You could cook it and then, you know, let the dogs gnaw on it for a while, which is actually what's going to happen with this. So the little bit of meat that's here, they're going to be loving life. Now, of course, as you're cutting this, you're actually cutting very close to the fat cap that runs on the top of this. And as you see, it's really easy to break through. And you know what, if you do, it's okay, because you can still make a country rib out of this. It just may not be as long as the others, but you know what? People will still eat it. Well, assuming you make it taste good, then people will still eat it. Don't burn it and try to serve it to family, whether you like them or not. All right, so you can see here, this is how this was together, like a book. We've opened it up. This side right here is pretty and simple and all of it's solid. Like I say, this is the piece that had the bone in it. But again, we're gonna work this out. We're gonna get our big boy knife, and basically we're going like the grain is running this away, right? You can see all the strata in it and everything like that. So what we're gonna do, we're going across the grain, and you're gonna go basically 2 fingers, inch and a half, however thick you like your country ribs, which still aren't ribs. All right, so we're gonna basically come in about, like I say, this is about an inch and a quarter, somewhere in there. And we're just gonna slice this guy up. And this gives you one very nice, a very pretty country rib. Now, that's only one. I got a bunch more to make, so let me get to hacking and whacking, quick style.
Go, 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 go.
All right, and there you have it. We have now broke down the pork shoulder, into 10 good country ribs, which are not ribs. And I've got 2 pieces here, which, like I say, they're not whole, but again, this is where that pointy part of the bone was. And so it got really thin. So instead of trying to like have it hold on with threads, I just cut them into 2 pieces. And I've got 1 piece here that's pretty much fat and some stuff. Don't worry, frying pan is calling for this one. Or if you make sausage or things like that, you don't have to try to get to the very end of this row. Now, depending on how you get your pork shoulder, some of them may have a very thick fat cap on the top. This one didn't, but if it did, I would have actually trimmed that a little bit before I started. Or when you get to this point and you can see how thick it is, all you gotta do is come back and just trim a little bit of that off. It's kind of a personal preference thing. Some people like the really fatty piece of it. Some people want a little bit less, but boom, I just saved you a whole bunch of money by turning a pork butt into country ribs. Now, let's get to the cooking part of it, where we break out the Instapot and get some flavors going. All right, now for this part of the party, it's time to add a little flavor, like I say to these guys. With this Instapot, this is actually one of the smaller ones. This is a 6 quart. So is all of this gonna fit in here? No. But a big chunk of it will. And like I say, if you're just having dinner for 2 or something, you literally could take these just like they are, put them in the freezer, save them for later, and you can repeat the same process, only much faster because you didn't have to cut the bone out of a pork butt shoulder. So into the Instant Pot, we gotta have a little moisture. And so I'm gonna take some chicken broth. I'm gonna take this here vintage item. This is a can opener, kids. And we are gonna pop this guy open and crank it around. Whee! You know what the good thing about broth is? You really don't have to open the can the whole way. We got it cracked open pretty good. We're just gonna pour this right in here. Yeah, the whole can, unabashedly, unashamed, all of it. And yet it still has a lid. I'm gonna take about a teaspoon of liquid smoke, since again, we're doing this in the house and we're doing it in under an hour. Well, you want that smoky flavor, right? Let's see, we got ourselves a teaspoon. All right, so we got our 1 teaspoon of liquid smoke. Now don't go too heavy on the liquid smoke. I know it's tempting. I know you're thinking more is better. Not with that, it's pretty strong just like it is. I got myself a brand new bottle here of Worcestershire. That's right, Worcestershire, whatever the heck you want to call it. I just know this stuff tastes really good. We're gonna go ahead and add 2 tablespoons, because remember, liquid smoke was teaspoon. This is tablespoon. Looks the same, don't it? 1, and 2. Now, again, this is a simple recipe. This is one of those 5 ingredient deals. But if you wanted to go more, if you wanted to go bigger, if you wanted to add some garlic, some celery, some whatever, little extra flavor that you wanted to this, don't be scared. Go for it. Again, this is your recipe, not mine. I don't have to eat what you cook. I got to eat what I cook, but I don't got to eat what you cook. If you like it with anchovies and sour cream, don't let me stop you. Now, for the seasoning of the ribs, this is, again, one of those, what would you like to do? This one, I'm keeping really simple. I'm kind of back to doing the carnivore thing, so there's not a lot of sugars involved. So I'm just using Lane's. That's right. They're not sponsoring me. I just think this is really good seasoning. They're out of Bethlehem, Georgia. Look, it's got my vote, all right? And they have 100 different flavors for stuff, and this is just their signature. That's all I'm doing to these. Not a whole lot of crazy prep, not, you do this for 20 minutes and that 20 minutes. No, just simple stuff. We're gonna take all our ribs, because granted they won't all fit, but once I get done with the show, well, the other one's gonna go right in there and I'm gonna cook and eat them too. So we're gonna take all our ribs and we will season them up nice and heavy, and always season up high. If you do it down low, it gets splotchy. But if you come up high and do a little shake and bake, well, you get a nice even coverage over all of these guys. All right, now I'm gonna give them all a quarter turn, because you see they a little naked. And when it comes to flavor, we don't want no naked. We want the good taste the whole way through. Again, you could do this with barbecue sauce. You could just do salt and pepper. You could do nothing. Like I say, these are pretty good on their own. Like I say, the liquid smoke in the Worcestershire is gonna give it a little love. Another rotate. And the final one. All right, everybody's got a nice comfortable layer of flavor, just loving all over it. I'm gonna give this about 10 minutes, just like it's sitting, for 2 reasons. One, I want this to kind of absorb into it so that way it holds a little bit. And 2, when I first started cutting the meat, I pulled it right out the fridge. With meat, you want it as cold as you can get it. It actually cuts easier than when it's warm. When it's warm, it kind of gets a little floppy, but when it's cold, it's stiff, right? So I'm gonna let this kind of come up to room temperature. That way it helps it cook a little faster in here. Yes, I know it's an instant pot, but the process is still the same. But I'll give it 10 minutes, let the flavor soak in, let some of the cold leak out, and then we're gonna load the pot. Give me 10.
Hello, who are you?
Hi, my name's Littlefoot.
Yes, you are, little buddy. Take care.
Okay, see you later.
Don't you love editing? 10 minutes, just like that. Now, like I say, because this is the small Instant Pot, we're gonna set this in here. Now, you don't wanna just cram this in here, just making it fit because you can. Because yes, all this will go in here, but then the middle of it may not cook. So you gotta do a little bit of breathing room. So we will take our first guy here. We'll just kind of lay him in here. And well, let me do them all real quick. All right, so that's 7 of them right there, and that's pretty full. Like I say, I don't want to absolutely pack it to the top, so these other 2 plus those little scrap pieces, I'll cook after the show. Because again, if this was not a 6 quart, if it was an 8 quart or 10, or they might make a 12, I don't know. Instant Pot has different sizes, but this one was on sale when I bought it. It was the cheap one, it was the small one. I'm sorry, I got a budget. What can I do? All right, so we'll go ahead and take our top. You know, I do like how you literally can take the top and set it here or here, and lets all the water run down and drain into a little catch thing. So we'll take our pot, slam it home. It sings. All right, now this is where there's a little bit of difference based on how you like your ribs. If you like what they consider, I guess, bite off the bone, you would pressure cook this for 20 minutes with a natural release. If you like it more of a, absolutely fall apart type deal, you would lean more toward the 45, right? That would give you a very, very tender, like you would struggle to get it out of here kind of thing. I'm kind of in the middle of that. I like mine soft, but not mushy. So we're gonna cook this one for 35 minutes. And like I say, do a natural release where once it's done, I'm gonna give it about 10-15 minutes before I pop the valve back here and let the pressure off. And it continues to cook while it's cooling down, but it's a patience thing. You gotta do this so the ribs taste right, so that everything's good. So, well, let me hit the buttons, let me clock the time, and let's get this party started. All right, so I got a little tied up in doing things, so I didn't get back here in time for the 15-minute natural release. We've gone a little farther, but we still have pressure under this thing. And you can't open the Instant Pot under pressure. If you did, bad things could happen, for one. But because of that, we're gonna go ahead now and open our valve and let the little bit of steam that's in here out. Now, if you open this up sooner, you get a nice pillar of steam and everything's popping up. But in this case, it was almost like cooled down to where there's no pressure. Our valve just went down. Let's hear the little song. Ooh, look at there. Still bubbling and boiling in there, I tell you what. Now, I'll set this here. Let's go ahead and sneak in here and see what we got. Now, look at there. Can't even pull them out. Well, I could if I was a little more careful, but you know, sometimes you do stuff for the shot. But I mean, tender, oh yeah. Got that one. Well, had that one. And I tell you what, this smells really good too. Again, if you had more, you know, more seasonings or whatever that you wanted to put on it, go for it. Now, for me, this is good. I'm gonna eat these guys just like they are. But if you wanted to do like a little more of the you know, that baked on barbecue, like it's been in outside in the smoker for a bit, you could take these guys, lay them on a baking tray, put a little barbecue sauce on them, put them in the oven, broil them for about 5 minutes and get that nice caramelized top on it. Delicious. But this will be good enough for now. So let me yank all these guys out of here real quick. All right, good enough. Now, like I say, if I would have got down here sooner, because again, letting this thing sit here the 25 minutes that I did before I opened the lid, it continued to cook, right? And so this really, where I wanted to be more of a 35 and a 10 minute before I just popped the top, it wound up cooking for closer to 50 minutes, which is why these guys are so tender. But it ain't changed. If anything, it enhances the flavor, because it lets all these seasonings and everything, gives it more time to soak in and flavor this. So let's see what kind of flavor we got, because I'm gonna make a few of these this up here. I mean, you almost don't have to chew. It is that tender. It's still hot, so I'm gonna see if I can do this, but I'm gonna literally just grab it and just pull it apart. Now, if you did take these and broil them, it would help pull them together a little bit more, because that does dry it up. But this right here, freaking wonderful. All right, after this bite, I gotta stop because I still gotta make a thumbnail, and I gotta have something left over to make the thumbnail. So until next time, literally, you saw how simple this was to turn pork butt, to turn a pork shoulder into country ribs, into done in really under an hour. I just got distracted. And the flavor you get, incredible, really tender, still got that smoky flavor from what we put in there, still delicious, and still know that Bigfoot is real, and I bet he's really gonna like some ribs if I run into him. Y'all take care. I'm gonna stay right here and eat. It's not making this piece of meat sound really appetizing so far, am I? Hey, so Mr. H, I was wondering if I could get a raise.
No, but I can pay you in bananas.
Do I look like an ape to you? I mean, I do like bananas, but okay, fine. Give me the bananas.